started with a short 2-day trip to the scorching heat of central Italy to move the first van of furniture from my mom's place to the Cascina. We don't know yet when she will move in, but as the road to her house is unpaved, we can't reach it with a big van during the winter months, so it seemed like a good idea to get started.
Gewoon geëxalteerd erop zitten.
Yeah, so these are quite a lot of tools here. Some from my personal stash, some from friends, some from the previous owners. And there's a heat wave going on this week, so we'll stay indoors for a bit, and that gives us plenty of time to go through this stash of tools. So some of these are doubles, some are broken, and the doubles can go into our backup bin, and the broken ones we can recycle and use in future projects to maybe use some blacksmithing. We'll see. It's going to be fun going through these.
The temperature has finally dropped a little, so today we're going back to the plumbing. The trench is around 50 centimeters deep, which might sound like not quite deep enough, as I think the advised standard is 80 centimeters. But the original pipe was placed at around 40 centimeters, and going deeper would have meant digging into solid rock for a vital length of 30 meters. We did some asking around in the neighborhood, and everyone we talked to was positive 50 centimeters would do perfectly. The old water pipe ran diagonally across the courtyard. We decided to dig the trench all along the edge of the asphalt and the concrete because we don't want to mess it up too much. We want to remove it in good time, but for at least this winter it's practical and functional, and it doesn't make sense to start messing with it now. We'll plant flowers all around the courtyard in the new trench, which should make it look a lot nicer already. If you remember from last week, we found big natural stone pavers under part of the courtyard. By the looks of it, they aren't under the whole asphalt area, but we'd love to expose the natural stones in the future and put in new ones where there's currently none, to create one beautifully paved hole. We've set all the big stones we found aside for just this purpose. We also managed to save many big stones that were dug up when the gas tube and tank were put in place back in March, that will come in handy once we get to this point. But it might be a few years before we get around to doing this job, and we'll have to collect many more stones to be able to cover the whole surface. So we're finally done with digging the trench. The reason why it took so long was we already said that we had a heat wave, so it was just some days it was just too hot to work on it. But also there were a lot of big stones under the ground, under the asphalt and the concrete that we couldn't take out with the digger, because then we would rip open the whole top layer of asphalt, and we wanted to avoid that, so we had to do a lot of it by hand. But now it's done and we are ready to put in the new pipe the coming days and close it all up. We were greeted by rain this morning, so we've put the plumbing on hold once again. Instead, we're doing some more woodworking today. I'm working on finishing the drawer pulls for 2 small chests of drawers, and Bertus is making extra shelves for the wardrobe in our bedroom. After living out of suitcases, boxes and backpacks for the past weeks, I'm so excited to finally have easy storage for our clothing again. We haven't quite shown you all the decorating we've been doing inside. Here's a peek into the current state of our bedroom. Decorating between quotation marks because we haven't done anything beyond arranging furniture. But hey, we have a bed, and now we have a place to keep our underwear too. And luckily the paint in this room is still quite fresh and clean, so we're not in too much of a rush to do a lot of work here. It's definitely not our favorite color, and my soul is craving to make it all pretty. But there are many jobs that we need to tackle before winter, so it's an exercise in patience. So this is an overview of the tubes we are going to put in place. On the right side you can see the main valve connection, and completely to the left there's the new house. In between the main valve and the new house we'll install a garden tap. There used to be one which was broken, so we'll put in a new one. And then just before the tube goes to the house, we'll put in another split so that on the other side of the courtyard we can also install a garden tap. Close to the main valve we've also put in an extra split, because if we decide in time to also connect the off-grid water cistern, which collects spring water, to the water supply for the house, we can do that. But we still have to have the quality of the water checked from the spring, see if it's okay for drinking. And once we get around to doing that, we can decide.
There's an old tap next to the stables, which is now disconnected, but we want to put a new one there. And also a new tap next to the main house, because it's really convenient to have taps, water taps outside to water the plants, the garden, or other purposes.
Zoiets.
Okay.
It's worth mentioning that this whole operation will be temporary. As we get to renovating the outbuildings over the next few years, we will have to put connections to the water grid in place for those as well. And we'll need to update the whole system and have it officially signed off by a registered plumber. Italy has very specific code around what type of renovation work you are allowed to DIY, and maintenance of existing plumbing systems is on that list, while the installation of a new system is not.
So we have connected the new tube to the main valve of the house. I've opened the valve, so let's check if there are any leaks. This one is okay. And the last connection is also working.
We're finally getting to closing the trench and it feels bloody amazing. As we had a bit of a hard time finding a place where we can buy compost, we're adding some old straw to the soil as well as shredded cardboard and newspaper. This should promote soil life and give nutrients to the plants. Our own compost won't be ready to use in the garden for quite some more time, but we'll add a layer of compost at the very top. We'll either try to source leaf mold from our land if we can find an accessible spot, or buy commercial compost, or a combination of both. obviously I want to get it further.